Åskog! Åskog! What is this sorcery coming from Sweden? Well, it's black metal in the vein of very traditional Nordic, Scandinavian black metal. This one comes from Sweden and it's a brand new album by the band. Don't know if I should even try to pronounce it, but this is something like Varþnaþer. Something along those lines, not exactly sure always how Swedish or Icelandic people say when there is this certain letter mentioned. Anyway, when I heard Åskog for the first time, I heard actually their demo called Vag, or Vari. And Vag already, which means wolf, already shows quite a lot of promise in terms of Swedish black metal, and as such it was paving the way for this first full-length album, which is released by Grind to Death Records, and this is actually of May release. This comparison between the demo and this Varþnaþer is quite a tricky. I am very much trying so hard to disagree with people who say first demo is the best. But in this case, I guess I have to agree a little bit. Now, Vari already proved that and showed that these guys know what they're doing. I mean, it has this certain strong Scandinavian presence, this very Swedish and Norwegian feeling with the music, even though the full lineup is not that much a Scandinavian heritage, but the very presence of that kind of black metal is present within this album. So when I got the email about the band, I got this about Vari, and I was like, okay, it sounds good, I want to review it, and then I requested it, and I got delivered this Varþnaþer. And then I didn't even pay attention that I have gotten different release what I was hoping for. And I was still like typing a message and like, okay, hey, your album sounds out, I'm gonna publish a review. And then I was like, what the hell? Actually, this is different what I was listening to. And then it occurred to me, I had been asking different CD for review than what I actually got. I mean, it doesn't matter because obviously this band is the same, but I was a little bit wondering like why it sounded a little bit different than what was my original feeling. Then again, sometimes you really don't know what happens. The first impression you got from any kind of a release is a certain kind, and then after a couple of listens, you maybe adjust a little bit and all that. Now, the point of this whole story is that I actually liked Vari a little bit better than what I liked Varþnaþer. The reason? I really don't know. I can't put my finger on it, but I think it has something to do because it's more compact, less songs and all that stuff. The songwriting feels a little bit more, confined. It means like maybe with this full-length album there is more material that could be called a filler kind of stuff. Now, don't get me wrong, this album is far from being that. But it's maybe not as killer as I hoped it to be based on my listening to Vari. Anyway, be it as it may, I think Varþnaþer is pretty good, a black metal album. It's a really good album considering it's a debut album. And I think the overall feeling is that this is very, very promising a band. Now the thing here is, this doesn't really change anything in the terms of, Nordic black metal. You will instantly, like with the first track alone, get the feeling, okay, I'm listening to something very, very Nordic. I'm listening to something that is coming either from Norway or Sweden, which that is factually true. But my point here is, it's something that you might have heard a million times before. That is, if you have been listening to Nordic black metal. Now, this can be a route that goes either two ways. Either you like it because it's something that resonates with you because you've liked the other million releases before that. Or maybe you're just fed up with the genre and you feel like, why would I listen to this one? Because everything after the 90s is just repeating the same pattern. Now, I rather avoid both of these paths. For me, each and every release is its individual journey, an experience that either resonates with me or doesn't. And luckily for me, Varþnaþer mostly resonates in a nice way. But I feel like the first part of the album is actually the strongest one. And then something starts to happen and I feel like the rest of the stuff is not that good. Now, once again, don't get me wrong, this is far from being any kind of a mediocrity. But I was just maybe hoping a little bit better based on how much I like Vari and how much I like the first part of the album. I really can't choose a song like where the line stops. I mean, it's kind of a shading from this bright spot to a more like a dim spot, or more like super bright to just bright, if you get the drift. So all in all, this album is very likable, but I don't feel it's gonna be a future classic for me. Now, everything from production to vocals are right in the place, so I really can't complain really. But this is on the verge. Is this an album that would go to the one of the best albums of the year list, or just, cut off from that list? And I hate to be this negative Joe and to say, yeah, this falls in the latter category. So while this is totally enjoyable, it's very, very decent, and it's kind of nice and promises a lot of good material, I still feel it's lacking something. And maybe that is why I prefer Vari, the demo, that is a little bit more compact, more straight to the point, no extra fat, it's all trimmed away. Now, be it as it may, I think that if the band keeps doing their stuff here, the way that this album proves, and how the Vari demo does, I think there's a bright future for this kind of band. So I'm very much looking forward to see where Åskog actually goes from this one. It's a nice release coming out on May 12th. So give it a go and give it a listen. If you can, just right now, because it's still away for a few days, come back during then and maybe you will be able to listen to it fully on your favorite streaming service or Bandcamp or YouTube or whatever. But with this information, go give it a chance, mark it on your list, and I hope you enjoy it.